Do not believe what anyone tells you today because it is April 1st, April Fools. I don't have a witty joke for you, but what I do have is a jam-packed video full of insights into the monthly close, the quarterly close, what we can expect for the quarter ahead, and I do think it is looking very bullish. What's up guys, Dirk here from IntelligentCryptocurrency.com. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, click that notification bell so you do get future updates. If you want to get on my email list so I can send you an email when I upload new videos, first link in the description down below. And if you want to follow on Instagram, Twitter, and join our free public Telegram, the links are also in the description down below. Alright, so Bitcoin is currently trading at just over $45,000 as I'm recording this video on April 1st. So as always, we're going to look at the historical returns, but I also want to look at a few different charts. I want to look at some of the stock market indice charts on the monthly time frame to show you why we could potentially be in for a rather bullish second quarter of the year. So April, May, maybe even June. So let's head over to the historical returns. As you can see, we had March close green with positive 5.39%. Now March had a tendency of being more red than green, but this time we closed green, and I think it was just more of an expectation where people were thinking we're going to be red for March. We had the sell-off in March in 2020, so this time it didn't happen. And now we have April, which is historically green. And even if it is red, the lowest red that it has been since 2013 is minus 3.46%. So my guess is once again, we are going to have a green April this year of 2022. But I do think there might also be a bit of turbulence throughout this month too, where it's not just going to go up in one straight line, but there will be shakeouts, even like the one we've actually been seeing in the last 24 hours, where Bitcoin dropped pretty much from almost 48,000 to under 45, and now we're just above 45. So there is going to be volatility, but my personal guess is that April is going to end up being green, and May also. Actually, I do think these 2 months look pretty good for the months ahead. Now, if we look at the quarterly, which just closed yesterday, basically, is we closed Q1 in the red, but only just barely, with negative 1.46%. You can see Q1 generally has been more red than green for the last 8 years, 9 years. So that's nothing out of the ordinary. You can see Q2, however, since 2013, we've had a lot more green than we have had red. So I do think Q2 is going to end up being a green quarter, but obviously we will only know that in 3 months from now when the quarterly closes once again at the end of June this year. So before I go into Bitcoin's prediction based on the monthly closes, what I want to do is I want to take you through some of the stock market indices, because there has been a strong correlation over the last couple of months where when the stock markets go down, Bitcoin and crypto go down too. So if the stock markets do not crash and instead they continue going higher, maybe even run to a new all-time high, then it could be very bullish for Bitcoin and crypto over the next few months too. So for example, let's start out by looking at the S&P 500. What we have here is a monthly chart, and just real quick, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you can see this was the monthly close, and basically two of these wicks like this next to each other, two of these candles with these wicks to the downside. This indicates to me that we are likely going to see more upside. We're probably going to take a run at the highs if I were to guess, and maybe even a sweep of the highs. Too many people were bearish, too many people were expecting a crash in the stock markets, especially with what was going on geopolitically with the war in Ukraine and Russia and all that fear. But basically what we ended up getting was this, and I do think that a lot of people who are betting on going down, a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines, that these markets are going to continue going higher. You can also look at the Dow Jones. Similar, if you look at all the major indexes, what we've had here, and obviously this monthly candle just closed because that was March. We're going to open later today, so we should get movement there to the upside. But you can see that with this drop, I do think we're going to take out the highs. We're going to have a retest of the highs there. You can also have a look at some of the European indexes that even look much more bullish. Like you can see, this is a DAX, so the German stock index. We had a massive sell-off, but it retraced all the way back up. Usually this is bullish So I wouldn't be surprised over the next few months, again, if we test those highs and maybe even set new all-time highs for the DAX. Similar, you can go and run your way through various European stock market indexes. You can see they've got these long wicks to the downside that retraced all the way back up. Usually what that means is we are going to get further upside in the next couple of candles. So if the stock markets do indeed not sell off and instead continue to go higher, that is going to be very helpful for pushing Bitcoin and crypto higher too. So let's look at Bitcoin. What we have here is we had a green candle over here. So that looks pretty good. Let me hop over and recap last month's prediction that I made on March the 1st, and then I will share my thoughts on what I think lies ahead for April. So basically my prediction this month is the historical data shows that March can be a good month. So I think it's completely possible. Maybe we retest these lows once again. You see we had 3 wicks over here. So downside wise, it is possible we get a wick 36, 35,000. That is possible. Upside wise, I think we probably try and take out the liquidity here and some stops and stuff. So $46,500. So you can see I said for the month of March we could get a test of that for 36,000 level, and at the top we probably take out that liquidity, so 46.5. So you can see the low was 37,181, so we came pretty close towards testing those bottoms, and the high was indeed 48,192. So that was pretty much very close to the prediction where we touched the bottom of the range, then went up, took out that liquidity and pulled back a little bit for the close, which was at 45,536. And now we're just back above 45,000. So this candle, in my opinion, is a bullish candle, but again, we could still have tests of a little bit lower. I think as long as we stay above $40,000 this month, things are looking good for the bullish case. And ideally, we'd like to break this area over here, which you can see there's a lot of support and resistance in this kind of level. So if we can get back above this $50,000 level, I think it's going to be very good for the bullish case if we can break through there. And I do think it is possible that we are going to end up seeing that for the month of April. So I hope that we are going to get 2 big green candles in April and in May, and that we are going for a run of the $58,000 level. Now just switching into weekly, you can see over here there is actually a lot of activity within this range, right? So there's a overhead resistance right now. If we can flip that, then I think we can move higher here. And one of the reasons also why I say that is if we put a Fibonacci retracement level over here, you can see the golden pocket 61.8 to 65, 0.66. You can see over here that would be between 55 and 57,000. I do think that is a target to look at. You can also see how that happened in the last sell-off, right? Back in 2021, where we had that consolidation, the sell-off, and then moved back to exactly that golden pocket, sold off, and then broke through it. So I do think we are going higher. I do think we're going to hit that golden pocket somewhere here, maybe in April, maybe in May, then potentially pull back and potentially go higher. And then the question is going to be, do we get a new all-time high or not in this year? And personally, I'm still on the fence about this. I'm not too convinced just yet that we are in a new bull market leg. There is still a lot of overhead resistance. Like I said, this 55 to 58,000. And if we can get past that, we still have a lot of resistance between 58 and 61,000. So before we really get into a point where we're going to get some major run to the top, there are a lot of overhead resistance levels that we need to pass. But so far, things are looking bullish in my opinion. One thing that's also very important to note is the 50-week moving average, which last week we actually managed to close above just barely. And now we still basically have 3 days left for us to get another weekly close. So as long as we can get back above that weekly close, which is just above 46,000, a little bit below actually. If we can close the week, this week, above 46,000 again, then we have a second weekly close above that 50-week moving average, and it really increases the chances that the bulls are going to get control and that we are going to go a bunch higher in the next several weeks, maybe this whole of Q2. Now talking about the quarterly close, that just closed too. So if we change this to the 3-month, which is the quarterly, you can see each candle here represents 3 months worth of time. We had this huge wick to the upside, but here last quarter, we had the selling pressure. It came all the way back up. What that means is basically the bears took control for a bit, but they couldn't hold that strength to keep pushing it down and close that candle red. So the bulls stepped in, pushed it all the way back up. And usually that's a sign of strength behind it too. So in this quarter, it is possible that we retest towards the bottom of these lows, but it is also completely possible that we have a major big green candle to the upside, actually into potentially the high 50,000s or the low 60,000s in Q2 of 2022. So it is a little bit difficult to judge at this point in time where we're at and what the market is really doing. Because as you can see, we've had a lot of basically a huge sideways movement since the beginning of 2021. And even though there were these big runs and these big dumps, basically we could also see this as potentially a giant consolidation pattern where it went up like this and we could continue and break to the upside after it's done. And instead of getting a kind of parabolic blow off top and a parabolic bull market like we saw in 2013 and in 2017, maybe this one just takes even longer, and maybe this whole consolidation over here is building a base for a massive run up somewhere later in this year, maybe early 2023, where we still go over $100,000, but it just took a longer path to get there. A lot of ups and downs, because you have to keep in mind this pattern where there's a lot of shakeouts and a lot of these crazy moves to 66,000, then to 28,000, 69,000, 33,000. This shakes a lot of people out because a lot of the retail investors and the dumb money, they end up buying the tops, then they panic sell the bottoms, then they buy in again towards the top, they panic sell. So all this money that is coming from the dumb money, the retail investors who buy these tops, it's basically this massive transfer of wealth from, you know, regular people who are trying to trade these markets to the smart money, the professionals, the institutions who are really, really patient. They buy during the accumulation periods, down when it's low, and they sell towards the tops, exactly what they should be doing and the opposite of what most people do. So even though it may take longer, overall, I do still feel like there is a lot of bullish potential behind these markets. A lot of people are still thinking we're going to get a repeat of 2018 where we go sideways and only lower for 2 or 3 years before we get the next bull run. I don't think that's going to happen this time anymore. And I think with this double top pattern that we have is, I think the likely scenario at some point, I don't know how long that's going to take. It could be this year, could be next year, but at some point we're going to take out this double top. We're going to take out these highs, and we're probably going to go a lot higher, probably over $100,000. The question is just going to be, have we seen the low on this entire sell-off? Was 33,000 the bottom? And from here, do we start a leg up that's going to take us to all-time highs? Or are we seeing trickery now? Are we going to get one more sell-off below that 33,000 somewhere, say in the next 6 months? I would say if the window for that is going to take place, I would say it's probably going to be somewhere between September and October if we do end up getting a sell-off like that. But again, we're going to have to take it level to level, week to week. For now, I do think there is more bullishness left, and we should end up going a little bit higher before it's all said and done. So just a quick prediction recap, because I know I talked for quite a few minutes there. Downside wise, I would like to see it stay above $40,000. Upside wise, I think there's potential for maybe 55 to 57,000 this month if we do get a strong April. So let me walk you through a couple more charts. This is the total crypto market cap. This is on the daily. The red moving average is the 200-day moving average. So you can see we had an exact run up to the 200 where it was rejected, and now we're coming down. But if you see this as still the triangle with the potential breakout, there's still no issues here whatsoever, because we could simply just be having a retest here of this level where it could retest, bounce, and then move higher. And I do expect it still to move higher. So this is the total crypto market cap. Then if we're looking at the total altcoin market cap, so that basically excludes Bitcoin's market cap, it is only all the altcoins combined. You can see again, 200-day moving average. We retested that and temporarily rejected off that a little bit. Again, there's not a real issue. That is to be expected after such a big run. So I do expect a pullback here, and I do expect this to go higher. I think we're going to take out this liquidity over here, so we're probably just going to go a little bit above that and maybe again to the golden pocket somewhere over here. So there is still potential for this to move higher, so that is going to be good again for altcoins. Maybe not all altcoins, some are going to move a lot more than others. As we've seen in the last couple of weeks, we had a crazy little run in altcoins, especially in Zilliqa, that did almost a 6x in the last 2 weeks. A couple other coins have done 2 or 3 or 4x. So it's been a good movement in the last couple of weeks, and hopefully that is going to continue. I do suspect it is possible because these altcoins also look bullish on their monthly timeframes. So let me run you through just a couple of different altcoins. So for example, ICX, let's start with that. You can see we had a nice green month there, and that is a nice bullish engulfing pattern, which is bullish. So we should get further upside here, just purely based on the monthly candle chart, which is what a lot of these altcoin charts are actually suggesting. Okay, we can go through a couple of them. So for example, Theta also, you can see here we had a huge sell-off since the beginning basically of 2021, from April 2021, massive sell-off. That is actually really big from the all-time high. You can see that drop 85%. Now the last 2 months have been green, and I do suspect there will be continuation and more upside there too. If we're looking here at, for example, CRO, nice little green month after an indecision month over here. Again, it's possible that we have more upside over here. And you can go through the various charts. Solana, for example, indecision month, nice green month last month, and I do suspect we will have further upside. So if you work your way through various altcoins, I'm not going to spend too much time because the video is already too long as it is, but you can see Woo over here, nice green month. Again, there's potential here for nice upside here towards the maybe the 90-cent level, maybe even towards the dollar mark over here. Zilliqa went absolutely nuts. So you can see this is the monthly chart where we went from about 4 cents to currently 21 cents or even 22 cents already. So this is the crazy thing about crypto and about altcoins. You can spend months going sideways, and then in a period of 2 or 3 weeks, the crypto can absolutely take off and do like a 5 or a 10x. When it's completely unexpected and completely erase all those losses in a single month. I mean, if you look at the daily, what happened here on Zilliqa, you can see it just absolutely took off. And sure, that is an exception, but not that much of an exception. This does happen with random coins from time to time. But you can see this period over here, how long we went sideways over here. So we went sideways for 310 days. Almost a year we went sideways, then we took off and just massive pump. So that brings me to my point, which I've been saying over and over the last years, is you need to be able to accumulate during the bearish periods when no one's interested in crypto, when the markets are down 70, 80, 90%, when people are panic selling their crypto, when they're saying it's dead. That is the time you want to be buying and accumulating, because that is the only way that you're going to make the crazy gains. You don't get these crazy gains by buying at the tops and the ends of bull markets when everyone's euphoric and when the market's already up, which is what most people do. They wait, they sit on the sidelines, they get disinterested, and only towards the last couple of weeks of these bull markets, they start buying these tops and they don't get these crazy returns. And in fact, most of the time they get left bag holding. The market drops 50 to 80%. Some of them will end up selling for a loss. Others will just forget about it and eventually learn from their lessons when the next bull market comes back. So let this be a lesson. Don't get too much FOMO. If we do continue going higher over April and May, right, and people who have been sitting on the sidelines seeing it go up and up and up and not participating, and then only getting involved towards the very top of a run. I've seen it also on my social media, like Zilliqa, for example. People don't get involved, and when it gets to 22 cents, they start saying, oh, should I buy Zilliqa? Is it going to go up further? The coin just went 6x in a matter of like the last 2 weeks. You don't buy it at the top. Sure, maybe it can keep going. Maybe it'll be the exception. But more often than not, if you buy towards the top of these pumps, it's going to end up retracing 30, 40, 50, 60%. You bought the top and you get left bag holding coins that, you know, might go sideways again for another 310 days before they actually do something. So be very careful with that. And basically that is the main lesson. You want to accumulate when prices are low, when it's going sideways, when it's boring, when nobody's interested. And of course you want to accumulate good projects. You don't want to just buy random shit coins or frauds or scams. You want to buy real projects with long-term potential. So this video was a little bit longer than usual, but hopefully you found it interesting. It does look like we have a bullish couple of weeks ahead of us, so hopefully that is going to be the case. We will know obviously by the end of the month, And as always, you know, if you want more of these updates, subscribe down below, click that notification bell, get on my email list so I can send you an email when I upload a new video. And please smash the like button, share this with your friends, leave a comment down below if you enjoy these videos. What do you think lies ahead for April, for May? Do you think we're going higher? Do you think this is a fake out or not? Would love to hear your thoughts, so leave them down below and I will see you in the next video.